Hare Krishna, dear devotees. Let's chant one round japa with Srila Prabhupada. Namo Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namane Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare. Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasati Gaur Bhaktivinoda. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Mudirayet Nashtaprayeshva Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavatyuttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Krishna Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय, श्रीमद् भगवद गीता as it is की जय, श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय, सामवेद गौर भक्त वृंद की जय, वांछा कल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिंधुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः. अनंत कोटि वैष्णव भक्त वृंद की जय, श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय. Hare Krishna, dear devotees, welcome to today's Srimad Bhagavatam for all session. We will recite Bhagavad Gita Shloka. We will learn the next Shloka. Just a note for all of you. This week is going to be busy for me in the mornings. My children have their testing, so they have to go in the morning. So we will have shorter classes. We will chant Japa and then we'll recite Bhagavad Gita Shloka. Maybe we'll do one verse of Srimad Bhagavatam. So we may not go up to 8 o'clock. All right. So Bhagavad Gita, just for this 1 week, we'll resume normally from next week onwards. So we learned text 23. last week, 9:23. Yepyanya devata bhakta, yepyanya devata bhakta yajante shraddhayanvita tepi mameva kaunteya yajante vidhipurvakam. Those who are devotees of other gods and who worship them with faith actually worship only me, O son of Kunti, though they do it in a wrong way. Now, text 9:24, the next verse. Please repeat 9:24. Aham hi sarva yajnanam bhokta cha prabhur eva cha natu mam abhijananti tatvena taschyavanti te. Aham hi sarva yajnanam bhokta cha prabhur eva cha natu mam abhijananti tatvena taschyavanti te. Aham hi sarva yajnanam भोक्ता च प्रभुरेव च न तु माम् अभिजानन्ति तत्त्वेनातश्च्यवन्ति ते. I am the only enjoyer and master of all sacrifices. Therefore, those who do not recognize my true transcendental nature fall down. What is Krishna saying? I am the only enjoyer and master of all sacrifices. And one who does not recognize this about him, he falls down. Krishna had already said in 529, Bhoktaram Yagya Tapasam Sarva Loka Maheshwaram. Right? But one who does not know this about Krishna, he will fall down. So we can start reciting this verse now. Does anyone need to go first? We'll just go in order. Achit Priya Mataji, can you recite?
Yes, Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandavat Pranam, Jai Srila Prabhupada Jai Guru. Aham hi sarva yajnanam bhukta cha prabhur eva cha na tu mam abhijananti tatvena tasyavanti te. Translation by Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Translation: I am the only enjoyer and master of all sacrifices. Therefore, those who do not recognize my true transcendental nature fall down. Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Mataji, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada, all glories to the assembled devotees.
Please accept my humble obeisances, Prabhuji. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Please repeat, Prabhuji. Aham hi sarva yajnanam
Aham hi sarva yajnanam
bhokta cha prabhur eva cha
bhokta cha prabhur eva cha
natu mam abhijananti
natu mam abhijananti
tatve nataschavanti te.
tatvena taschavanti te. Translation: I am the only enjoyer and master of all sacrifices. Therefore, those who do not recognize my true transcendental nature fall down. Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Aditilata Mataji and Arunita.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
Aham hi sarvam yajnanam bhukta cha prabhureva cha natu mam abhijananti tatvena jivanti te.
Tatve nataschavanti te.
Tatvena tasjivanti te. Translation: I am the only enjoyer and the master of all sacrifices. Therefore, those who do not recognize my true transcendental nature fall down.
Hare Krishna Mataji, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada.
Mataji, all glories to Srila Prabhupada.
Aham hi sarva yajnanam bhokta cha prabhureva cha na tu mam abhijananti tatve na taschavanti te. I am the only enjoyer and master of all sacrifices. Therefore, those who do not recognize my true transcendental nature fall down. Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Yeah. So next is Kalpesh Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Mataji, please accept my humble obeisance. Aham hi sarva yajnanam bhokta cha prabhurev cha natu mam abhiyajanti tatventas chayanti te. Translation: I am the only enjoyer and master of all sacrifices. Therefore, those who do not recognize my true transcendental nature falls down. Hare Krishna.
Priyanka Mataji.
Hare Krishna Mataji, please
Yes,
accept
madam.
my humble obeisances. Jai Srila Prabhupada.
Accept my obeisances, Mataji.
Aham hi sarva yajnanam bhokta cha prabhurev cha natu mam abhijananti tatve natashchevanti te. I am the only enjoyer and the master of all sacrifices. Therefore, those who do not recognize my true transcendental nature fall down. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. So everyone recited? Madhava, you are going to recite? Come quickly. Bhokta. Jananti.
I'm the only owner and master of all sacrifices.
Owner.
I'm the only enjoyer and master of all sacrifices. Therefore, those who do not recognize my true transcendental nature fall down.
Okay. Okay. So now let's do Srimad Bhagavatam. Everyone recited, right? Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 8. I think we started a new chapter. Chapter 20. So we started a new chapter, and the chapter is entitled Bali Maharaj Surrenders the Universe. So after Shukracharya instructed Bali Maharaj in so many ways why he should not give charity, what did Bali Maharaj do? Sri Sukadev Goswami said, O King Parikshit, when Bali Maharaj was thus advised by his spiritual master Shukracharya, his family priest, he remained silent for some time, and then after full deliberation, he replied to his spiritual master as follows. So that's what we read in the last class. Bali Maharaj did not right away say yes or no to the spiritual master. Why? He didn't say yes immediately, because normally the duty of the disciple is to just follow the instruction of the spiritual master, especially somebody who's cultured. Bali Maharaj is a great devotee, so he wouldn't do anything which is against the scriptures whimsically. So he would have just accepted the order of the spiritual master, because we must follow the instruction. But this was a case where the spiritual master, and also in that purport Srila Prabhupada explained what is the role of a spiritual master. The guru is supposed to bring the disciple to Krishna, help him in advancing in his Krishna consciousness. That's the sole purpose of a guru. Now, being in the position of a guru, if the guru is instructing the disciple to turn away from the Supreme Lord, to not surrender to the Supreme Lord, then so why we are obeying the spiritual master, we should also know that. So Bali Maharaj saw that there's a discrepancy here. The spiritual master, first of all, I must obey the spiritual master, but the spiritual master is telling me not to give in charity to Lord Vishnu. He said this Vamana is Lord Vishnu. So then he considered, what should he do? And then if I disobeyed the spiritual master, that is sinful, isn't it? You go against the order of the spiritual master, for that you may get a reaction. So what should I do here? Should I just act independently, because giving everything, this is the conclusion of the scripture. So then finally he decided, after deliberating, full deliberation, considering the whole situation properly, now he begins to reply to Bali Maharaj. What is he replying? We'll see that today. Sri Baliruvacha Satyam Bhagavata Proktam Dharmoyam Grihamedinam artham kamam yasho vrittim yo na badheta karhichit. Translation. Whose turn is it? Achitra Mataji, do you remember?
Sorry, Mataji, that day. Maybe Swarnami Mataji's family finished, or someone has to read from Spurti or.
No. In Jai Ganesh Prabhu had read the day before that, so we went down.
Yes, we come. I think it came to Swarnami Mataji's family.
Oh, it came there, huh? So we'll start with you then. Okay. So
No, there Spurti has to read, I think, if she's
they're
not
not
there.
here,
Mataji.
Mataji. Yeah, they're not here.
Oh,
Also, as I announced earlier, we will only be doing one verse today. Okay.
yes.
Mataji, you can read the translation.
Bali Maharaj said, as you have already stated, the principle of religion that does not hinder one's economic development, sense gratification, fame, and means of livelihood is the real occupational duty of the householder. I also think that this religious principle is correct. Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Now, this is the beginning of Bali Maharaj's answer to Shukracharya, to all the instructions that we heard from Shukracharya before. What is Bali Maharaj saying? That you have already stated the principle of religion that does not hinder one's economic development, sense gratification, fame, and means of livelihood is the real occupational duty of the householder. Yeah, this is what Shukracharya said, that you should not give that charity which is actually going to put your means of livelihood in danger. Remember, Shukracharya said that you want to give this charity, but the result of this charity is he is going to take everything away. You won't have any means of livelihood and you won't be able to do any other religious duty because of giving this. Therefore, wise people say you should not do this. So, Bali Maharaj is saying, you have said that, and not just your, and then he said you have to divide, this is from Shastra, of course, you have to divide your income in 5 parts, right? One part is for religion, one part is for sense gratification, one is for your improving your opulence, one is to, build your reputation, and one part is for family members, like that. So only one of the 5 parts you do it for religion, but the others you have to save for yourself also, for sense gratification, for family, for reputation, for your opulence, like that. So the principle of religion that does not affect this type of dividing your wealth, that only you can follow. If it is actually affecting this, you should not follow. That's what you told me, right, Shukracharya? I also think that this religious principle is correct. Bali Maharaj is saying, yes, what you said is correct. This religious principle is correct. Purport. So, Achinta Dev Prabhu, you can read.
Purport. Bali Maharaj's grave answer to Shukracharya is meaningful. Shukracharya stressed that one's material means of livelihood and one's material reputation, sense gratification, and economic development must continue properly. To see to this is the first duty of a man who is a householder, especially one who is interested in material affairs. If a religious principle does not affect one's material condition, it is to be accepted. At the present time, in this age of Kali, this idea is extremely prominent. No one is prepared to accept any religious principle if it hampers material prosperity. Shukracharya, being a person of this material world, did not know the principle of a devotee. A devotee is determined to serve the Supreme Personality of Godhead to his full satisfaction. Anything that hampers such determination should certainly be rejected. This is the principle of bhakti.
Anukulyasya sankalpaha pratikulyasya varjanam. Chaitanya Charitamrita, Madhya Leela, chapter 22, text 100.
To perform devotional service, one must accept only that which is favorable and reject that which is unfavorable. Bali Maharaj had the opportunity to contribute everything he possessed to the lotus feet of Lord Bamandev, but Shukracharya was putting forward a material argument to hamper this process of devotional service. Under the circumstances, Bali Maharaj decided that such hindrance should certainly be avoided. In other words, he decided immediately to reject the advice of Sukracharya and go on with his duty. Thus, he gave all his possessions to Lord Vamandev. Thank you, Mataji.
Thank you. Very nice. So we see this often when there's a dialogue between, when there is an instruction or when there is some statement made which is actually against devotional principle. Actually, this is the beauty of Vaishnavas, without rejecting, without getting angry, without, arguing, debating like that, they actually accept that statement but give it a devotional meaning. We'll see that in Srimad Bhagavatam. Very submissively. This is the art, actually. Of course, I don't have that art, but certainly we should study. When we study, that's why we need to study. When we study the scriptures, we see. So anyway, what did Shukracharya say here? Shukracharya said that you should not accept, wise people say that you should reject that religious principle which is going to affect your livelihood and your sense gratification, your reputation, what else? Your, the family members' desires, your opulence, right? Anything which is affecting these things, then you don't do that religious principle. Because he said your wealth should be divided into 5 parts. 1 part is for religion, the other 4 are for all these other things. So all those will be fulfilled only if you have money, if you have some livelihood, then only you can do that. And this religious principle, if it's affecting your livelihood, that means all the others are also damaged, right? You are not able to fulfill that. So therefore you should give up this religious principle. What is Bali Maharaj saying? Yes, what you said is absolutely right. We should not accept that religious principle which is going to affect everything else. So what is materialistic person's consideration? What Shukracharya said. My sense gratification, my this, my family, and my material prosperity, economic development. All this should be in place. Then I will accept that religious principle. If any of this is being affected, then that is not a good religious principle. This is a materialistic person's mentality. What is a devotee's mentality? A devotee's mentality is he is determined that the determination of a devotee is I must, with whatever I have within my possession, my body, my mind, my words, whatever I have, I must engage everything to please the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Because if the Supreme Lord is satisfied, that is the perfection of one's life. Samsiddhir haritoshanam. Yes. How do you know if some activity is actually successful? What is the, what is the symptom or what is the sign that this activity is now successful? If the Lord is satisfied with that activity, then that activity is considered to be successful. So therefore, a devotee always endeavors to please the Supreme Lord with whatever he has within his possession. That is the principle of his life. That is his determination. Now, of course, this type of that means, this can be explained further nicely. In the 12th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur explains what is the consciousness of a devotee. There's a series of slokas in the 12th chapter about beginning with Adveshta Sarva Bhutanam. So what are the qualities of a devotee? So there it is said that a devotee is santushtaha. He's satisfied with whatever he gets, right? That means whether he gets happiness or whether he gets distress, in both situations he's happy. That means even if he gets some little bit wealth or some not wealth actually, what does it, someone who's completely surrendered to the Lord, who's dependent on the Lord, he will only accept what he needs to survive, to live. And why he wants to live? So that while living he can perform bhakti. And why he is performing bhakti? To please the Supreme Lord. That's the only purpose. He's not doing bhakti so that he'll get some material advancement or no. He's doing bhakti that is Ananya Bhakta's qualification. So he's performing bhakti so that he will please the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and for that he will accept whatever comes. And then if something does not come, then what he will do? He will become angry. He will become disturbed. Like you see, Shukracharya is getting disturbed, right? So now you're not getting anything. We are talking about even basic things. Like he doesn't even get food that day. He's starving. So does he become angry? I'm trying to serve the Lord and I'm not even getting anything. So there it is said, no, he doesn't complain. He thinks that this is my prarabdha. What is supposed to come to me, it is coming to me. And this is his determination. And even in those circumstances, he will not take to anything else. It's not that, oh, because of bhakti, now I'm not able to maintain myself. So let me do something else just to maintain. Let me go and work and earn some money so that I can buy some food and I can eat. Or let me, now I'm so disturbed in my mind. Let me do some asanas and pranayama and this and that to control my mind, to become peaceful. No, he won't take to anything. He will continue his bhakti only, completely dependent. And somebody who's dependent on Krishna like this, he actually gets this determination. That's the whole point. He's determined that I will only do bhakti and I will only, whatever I have, I will simply try to serve the Supreme Lord. I will not take to anything else. Who will get this type of determination that I will not do anything except? We are trying to see the contrast between here Shukracharya and Bali Maharaj. Bali Maharaj is determined. I will give everything to the Supreme Lord. Shukracharya is not getting that determination. Who will get this determination? There Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says that determination, that person will get who is completely dependent on the Supreme Lord, who is surrendered. How? And the Lord likes it. It's just like the analogy is like a husband likes a wife who's completely dependent on him for the maintenance. And the Lord is the supreme husband. Similarly, the Lord becomes very pleased when a devotee is completely dependent on the Lord. And to such a devotee, the Lord gives this determination. One who is dependent on the Lord, he gets this type of determination that no matter what happens, right? Whether somebody insults me, beats me, kicks me, whatever, santushta, he remains satisfied. He's not affected, he remains equipoised. This quality, of course, sometimes people may practice it, on the material platform also to be equipoised, but their practicing will be because of some agenda to get something else in return or to achieve some other material result. They may practice it. But when someone gets this quality by dint of their pure unalloyed devotional service, then such a devotee is a great devotee. He's a very advanced devotee. Anyway, so here the point is Bali Maharaj, what is important? So Bali Maharaj is a devotee. What is important to him? Everything must be offered to the service of the Lord. That is the highest religious principle. Anything is jeopardizing this religious principle, remove it from the way. In fact, it is also said that in advanced stages of devotional service, a devotee gives up all types of material things, certainly, any material practices, vyavaharika karya. Vyavaharika karya means worldly etiquette in this world, right? You should do like this, you should do, he gives up all that. Anything which is an obstacle to directly surrendering everything to the Supreme Lord, he just thinks it's an obstacle, he'll reject it. Sometimes even spiritual things he will reject if it is an obstacle on the path of his bhajan, on the path of his serving the Supreme Lord. So anyway, here Bali Maharaj's point is he has to surrender everything to the Supreme Lord, and that is the highest principle. Why? Why is that highest principle? Because he's an Ananya Bhakta, he's a pure devotee. But for Shukracharya, that is not the highest principle, isn't it? Dharma is meant for artha, to get some wealth. If you're a religious person, being a pious person, you'll get more wealth, and with wealth you will have a nice, you'll have good sense gratification, so on and so forth. That is the purpose of following dharma. This is materialistic mentality. Whereas a pure devotee's mentality is whatever I have should be offered to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Right? Like this. So Bali Maharaj is answering to Shukracharya from a pure devotee's perspective, and Bali Maharaj is saying that yes, what you said is correct. Any principle which is disturbing the dharma, that should be rejected. So for him, the dharma is everything should be offered to the Lord. And what Shukracharya, his guru, is ordering him is actually going to disturb the real dharma, which is to surrender everything to the Supreme Lord. So therefore, I must reject my dharma to my guru. What did Shukracharya say? You want to give charity, that is dharma, but that dharma is actually disturbing your real purpose. What is your real purpose? Your real purpose is that you should have a livelihood so that you can have sense gratification and you can have opulence and reputation. Your reputation can be increased in this world and your family members can be happy with you. And you can also perform other types of dharma, give charity, sacrifice, yajna and all that. So to be able to do all this, all these five, that is your dharma. But Bali Maharaj is saying, my dharma is to please the Supreme Personality of Godhead with everything that I have. And Shukracharya said, for that dharma, what did he say? Those five things. For that dharma, if anything is affecting that, you give up that dharma. In this case, giving charity to Vamandev. That is actually disturbing your other five, so you give up this. And what is Bali Maharaj saying? My dharma is to please the Supreme Lord. Anything which is disturbing this dharma, in this case, obeying Shukracharya is disturbing his dharma of pleasing the Supreme Lord. So reject that. So saying, yes, whatever you have said, I'm accepting. But what did he understand? That I must reject such a spiritual master. Immediately he decided that I will reject. That's what Srila Prabhupada is saying. Okay. So also Srila Prabhupada is making a point here that in Kali Yuga, majority of the people are of this mentality. What is that mentality? Dharma is meant to give me sense gratification, to give me economic development, to give me good family and this and that, isn't it? I should follow dharma. By following dharma, everything will be nice materially for me. That's why they want to follow. And as soon as, if you, by following this dharma, some of these things are getting affected, so many times you will hear, unfortunately, even like, because we are not pure devotees yet, so that's why we still have such mentality. Oh, if I, sometimes because I brought the deities at home, I'm worshipping the deities at home, therefore everything, things are not happening properly in my family. This is somebody's falling sick or somebody is dying in my family because I started worshipping. They said, no, I should not be worshipping the deities, so on and so forth. We shouldn't have such ideas. What is meant to happen with us will happen. What I have to take care of is, am I doing it according to the instruction of the Guru Parampara, right? Sadhu, Guru, Shastra, all three you take into picture. And then whatever else is coming to me materially, whether it is distressful or this or that, accept that. But if we are calculating by doing this bhakti, by taking to chanting, then other things must be improving. You should not compare like that. By chanting Hare Krishna, then is my material things going on nicely or not? Anywhere there is some discrepancy in my material life means, oh, it's happening because of this bhakti, so I should stop this or I should change this. We don't do bhakti to get material things. But that is the mentality. We should also, and when we have that type of mentality, we should also understand, I have long ways to go. I am not actually practicing pure devotional service. My mind is still materialistic. Then what should we do when we see that, when we realize that? We should correct as far as possible, and we should pray to Krishna. We should chant and we should pray to Krishna that may my mentality be changed. May I move towards pure unalloyed devotional service. So we are only going to do one verse, as I said, throughout this week, because I have other engagements this week. So I'm going to end the class here. Thank you all very much. I will do one verse of Bhagavatam every day this whole week. Hare Krishna, everyone. Thank you very much for joining.